Welcome to Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, with your host, Steve Garrett, lifetime member of the National Corvette Museum, president of the Corvette Club of Kansas City, Missouri, and radio disc jockey at the #1 radio station in Kansas City for over 45 years. Here's Steve Garrett.
Thanks for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette, and the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. I appreciate you tuning in. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit wheelcraft.com today or call them at 833-840-5334. You can listen to Corvette Today on all podcast platforms. You can also listen on your smart device. Just say, "Hey Google," or "Alexa, play the podcast called Corvette Today," and you're connected. And be sure to visit the Corvette Today website. It's CorvetteToday.com. You can access everything there, including the Corvette Today merchandise store. You can also join our Corvette Today Facebook group there as well. Also, make sure you sign up for the Corvette Today emails, notifications, and updates at CorvetteToday.ck.page. And if you like YouTube, be sure to subscribe to our Corvette Today YouTube channel. See all Corvette Today episodes on YouTube as well. And be sure to patronize our flagship sponsors of Corvette Today, MidEngineCorvetteForum.com, the forum that focuses on the new mid-engine C8 Corvette. Meet a lot of fellow Corvette enthusiasts like yourself at MidEngineCorvetteForum.com. Soul Performance Products. Developed and manufactured in the United States, the Soul Performance Products exhaust portfolio has been tailored to elevate the experience of the world's most exciting sports cars, including the latest generation of the Corvette. Soul Performance Products at SOULPP.com, the official performance exhaust of Corvette Today. C8 Rally Driver is the one-stop shop for your C8 Corvette. Choose from custom-designed trunk and front covers, Z06 engine builder CNC plaques, customized wind restrictors, fluid caps, strut covers, rear hatch supports, and more. Everything is uniquely designed to provide you with custom accessories for your C8 Corvette. Visit their website at C8RallyDriver.com and let your imagination run wild. That's C8RallyDriver.com. Aerolarri Wheels, a true forged wheel with over 20 unique styles to choose from for your C8 and wide-body versions of the C7, C6, and C5 Corvette. It's an amazing value, starting at only $23.88 for a set of 4 fully forged wheels. And use the promo code CT111 and get $100 off your purchase. Visit Aerolarri.com. That's AEROLARRI.com. And use the promo code CT111 for your $100 discount. And a shout out to Canadian Corvette Forum and Corvette Forum, welcoming Corvette enthusiasts from around the world. All right, my friend, it's time once again every other week for Corvette News and Headlines with my pal Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. Keith is here every other week, and we both keep you up to date on what's happening with America's sports car. Keith, welcome back to the show. How are you, buddy?
Good morning, Steve. Doing great. It's been a fun couple of weeks. We've had some really interesting Corvette news come out. Of course, the weather's getting nicer. We had actually 80 degrees here down in Tampa last week.
Wow.
It's just looking great for a bunch of fun things happening in March. You know, we've got Amelia Island, we've got Sebring, a bunch of other events, I'm sure. So, yeah, let's get to it. I'm real excited.
Yeah, we've got plenty to talk about today. First, as we always do, Keith, let's start off with Corvette production at the Bowling Green Assembly Plant.
Yeah, well, we've been seeing some great production numbers from Corvette Assembly Plant with all 3 models being built in really decent quantities. The E-Rays are still ramping up, and we saw they built like 30 during the week of February 19th. We approximately have about 130 or so built as of last week. Still a ramp-up phase. People are saying it's not happening fast enough, but we saw what happened in Z06, and we just got to be patient there. The real story is the Stingrays, and this is a model that's just being cranked out in quantities day after day after day. We actually just surpassed 15,000 for the model year, and that happened just late last week.
Wow.
And we showed no signs of slowing down, especially we had just 2 allocations in February that seemed to be heavy on Stingray. In fact, the second allocation was all Stingray. That seems to be going really well, and you know we're at that point where a lot of dealers no longer have lists. So you could walk into a dealership order a car, it's going to go to production control. You're going to come back at 3,000 or 3,300 status really quick, and you could be driving a new Corvette within just a couple months now. So pretty exciting stuff there, I think. Z06 production has been a little dicey the later half of February, but it actually seems to recover where they're actually building another 40 or 50 per day again.
Yeah, let's talk about that because we got news that we've surpassed 4,000 Z06s built already in 2024.
Yeah, it's an amazing number. We did an update last week regarding Z06. I actually referenced the last news and headline show because it never fails, Steve. I'll come on the show. I'll make what I think is a really good pronouncement or, some sort of brilliant analysis. And then it just all goes to crap the very next day because something happens. So 2 weeks ago, I was saying the Z06 is doing fantastic. They're building all these cars. At least they built during early February was 49. And all the other times they've been building 50 to 60 cars. But then the week of February 19th happens and they built just 21 cars during that week. So it's like, wow, what's going on? And they built 20 of them on the Monday. On the Tuesday, there was 0. On Wednesday, there was 1. And then Thursday, Friday, and then the following Monday, all zeros again. So I'm starting to freak out a little bit going, what is going on with Z06?
Right.
And then suddenly they just started cranking them back up to 40 or 50 units per day.
Okay.
In that time, when they did crank up, that's when they surpassed 4,000 Z06s for the model year. That's an amazing number. And to give you an idea how far ahead we're running from 2023, both these model years, 2023 and 2024, the Z06s started up in October. Of course, 2022, it was a ramp-up period into winter and spring of 2023, and then they finally started getting going in the summer. We are already at 4,000 bins here in February, but last year it took till July to hit that mark.
Wow.
When you think about how many more months we have of production for 2024s, there could be some significant numbers there. So if that stat doesn't impress you, then understand that we already have 10,000 Corvette Z06s produced between the 6,400 that were built in 2023 and now the 4,060 that we have in 2024. I do see some people crying that their exclusive models being produced in greater numbers, but you really can only just shrug and say, it was inevitable that this would happen anyway. We've had no constraints on the Z06s the last order cycle, the early one in February. That means people are free to get, if their dealership gets a Z06 allocation and their numbers up, they can order whatever they want with it. All the visible carbon fiber stuff, Z07 packages there. It's pretty incredible that we're at this stage right now, although we do see some hiccups here and there, but for the most part, 40 or 50 a day is what they're building.
That's great news, buddy. And speaking of great news, let's talk about E-Rays because now they are shipping and they've been invoicing as well for customers.
Yeah, so it was Friday, February 22nd. GM finally started invoicing. There was about 111 or so E-Rays that had been built up to that point. And once they invoice them, then they're released for shipping. We had passed along some congratulations as these first E-Ray buyers are now officially going to become owners. We're still waiting on GM to release the very first photo of the VIN 001 E-Ray to come off the assembly line. That one was the one that was purchased by Rick Hendrick. We know he's actually got a couple lined up. And so we've been talking to our friends down at City Chevrolet trying to find out when those cars are going to arrive there. They are shipping. And it's all good news.
That is good news. And speaking of that, Mike Furman just shared pictures of the first E-Ray that he had arriving at Criswell Chevrolet.
Yeah, and I think it was pretty much one of the very first E-Rays to end up at a dealership that we have photographs of. We've been watching since we got the news last Friday about the cars starting to ship. We've been waiting who's going to get it first. And Mike said, we got one coming. He wasn't really quite sure when. Yeah. And it arrived last Wednesday. That was a really interesting car. It was a cacti green E-Ray with an actual interior.
Yeah.
VIN number was 40, and he says it's going to a customer up in New Jersey. We're anxious to see, of course, we're recording this on Friday. We do Mike's delivery photos on Sunday. So we're anxious to see if the customer actually does pick it up this weekend. So pretty exciting stuff.
I would be dropping things and going down to see him at Criswell Chevrolet and picking up my Stingray.
Yeah, I'd be sleeping there the night before.
Yeah, absolutely right.
Just wake me up when you come in, Mike. I'll be on the doorstep.
Yeah, we'll be there at 5 a.m., Mike. Just let me know when you get here, right? Also, Keith, you talked about 2 order cycles in February, but I know that GM did do another order cycle for Stingrays in February, didn't they?
Yeah, just a little bit of insight of what's going on here. So when the Z06 first came out in late 2022, GM was doing a separate order cycle just for the Z06s, and then the Stingrays had their own. Eventually, they combined them into one order cycle per month. That's been going on for several months now, just the one order cycle per month. We get the allocations, and then the constraints come out the next week, and that's when the order banks open. What was interesting, though, is when dealers got their allocations and the constraints came out for early February, they called it order cycle 1, not just February order cycle. They called it February order cycle 1.
Huh.
A lot of people are saying, does this mean there's going to be a 2? And of course, there was. So GM did another round of allocations. It was only Stingrays. Some dealers did pretty good. Some didn't get any cars for the month. It seems to be hit or miss on how some of these people are being treated. But the good news is a lot more Stingrays are getting out there. The other really good news about this order cycle is that most of the constraints are now lifted from the Stingray. Dealers are still getting numbers on how many Z51s versus non-Z51s they can order. We told a story about how a dealer last month could only order non-Z51s. Now it's reversed, and this month he can only order Z51s from his allocations that he got. You would think with as many cars as they're building that they would really have gotten past this bottleneck.
Right.
It is what it is. But the other good news is that finally those Q9i, those gloss black wheels, were not on constraint for the second order cycle.
Oh, that's good.
The Tech Bronze package was available now. We haven't seen that available since it was released. And of course, those have the Tech Bronze wheels, and those are now available. So the only item that wasn't available for that second order cycle was the 5ZU, the Stingray high wing in the different body colors.
Okay.
That's really good news. So we saw Z06 get its constraints cleared earlier in the month, and now the Stingray is almost cleared of its constraint. I think the next ordering cycle is going to happen. Dealers will get their allocations on March 7th, and then on March 14th is when the order bank opens up and we'll get constraint information and they can place their orders. Like I said, they're cranking along. We've got March, April, and May. And then after that, it's really kind of up in the air. If you order a Corvette in May, generally it would take 2 to 3 months for it to be built and shipped out. Now we're getting into that July period, August, when we might see the model year changeover. So there might not be too many ordering opportunities to go for the 2024s, even though we're just now getting into March. Traditionally, they've done the March, April, and May, and then afterwards, we just kind of wait and see what happens there. And
right.
I think we'll get some of that news at the bash, just to wait and see what happens.
Yeah, that's all we can do. Also, I'm jumping around here, Keith, but I know that the E-Ray just got approval to be on Australian roads, which is good news for the Aussies.
Yeah, GM Specialty Vehicles is basically the arm of General Motors down there that handles the importation of the Silverados and the Corvettes into Australia and to New Zealand. They'd already confirmed that the right-hand drive E-Ray would be exported to Australia and New Zealand. But last week, the news came out that the DMV, the Highway Traffic Safety Council is there in Australia, has officially approved the car for use on Australian roads. It's just one of those little things, one of those little milestones that every car that's being imported into the country has to go through. We understand it's going to be a very similar version to the United States model here. They had a couple issues with the Stingray and the exhaust notes down there. They needed them to be a little bit quieter. That was one of the fixes we saw when the Stingrays first got down there. But for the most part, it looks like the only difference will be the right-hand drive versus our left-hand drive cars.
That's cool. That's great. Well, we talked about Australia, Keith. Let's talk about Canada. Corvette won the J.D. Power Award for ALG Residual Value in Canada. What exactly is the ALG Residual Value Award?
Yeah, I think that the key term is residual value. So this award honors these models that are projected to hold like the highest percentage of the manufacturer's suggested retail price after a 4-year period. It's really an estimate, but you also base it on past performance. The Corvette had already won this in December for the United States market. So congratulations to the Corvette team and its customers for Canada for having this as well. It's just one of these nice awards that lets people know that they're buying a Corvette, it's going to hold its value very well. And we kind of expect that already, but we are seeing that, and so is JD Power.
Very nice. Well, buddy, let's take our first break. We had a lot of news in segment 1.
Woo! Yes, we did.
Yes, sir. In segment 2, we're going to talk about Corvette racing and Corvette rumors. That's on deck next, here on Corvette Today.
We all know that wheels make the car. Wheelcraft's PVD chrome finish in bright chrome or black chrome will take your Corvette to new levels. And it comes with a 5-year warranty. Durability is a defining feature of the Wheelcraft finish. Their PVD chrome is superior to traditional chrome, with a finish that is brake dust resistant and cleans effortlessly with soap and water. Wheelcraft offers factory wheel exchange for select C4 through C8 models, or they can apply the PVD finish to your current wheels. No matter what generation you own, Wheelcraft will transform the look of your Corvette. With every Corvette comes a unique story, and Wheelcraft has embraced this idea. When you purchase your new set of wheels, you receive a lifetime membership to the Wheelcraft Pit Crew, granting you access to your own page on Wheelcraft's website, where you can post pictures and tell your Corvette story. Visit our website at wheelcraft.com or call 833-639-4231. Arrive in style with Wheelcraft.
The Radiator Grill Store offers C8 Corvette A-pillar wind diffusers in beautiful carbon fiber or OEM gloss black that help reduce wind buffeting when a window is open. Easy installation and OEM fitment. Plus, get 10% off your total purchase with the promo code CT10 at radiatorgrillstore.com.
When you want to buy a Corvette, or any Chevrolet for that matter, get yours from Hendrick Chevrolet Shawnee Mission, located in Kansas City. Hendrick Chevrolet is the largest Corvette dealership and showroom in the Midwest. With a knowledgeable sales staff and Corvette sales specialists on hand, they'll help you build the Corvette of your dreams, and they ship nationwide. With Corvette certified master mechanics on site and a huge parts department with over 24,000 parts and $2 million in inventory, Hendrick Chevrolet is well equipped to take care of your every need. From sales to service to collision repair, Hendrick Chevrolet has you covered. Visit ChevyUSA.com or call 913-384-1550.
You're listening and watching Corvette Today with Steve Garrett.
Thanks for checking out Corvette Today on podcast and YouTube. It's the only current podcast dedicated to Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. You want your Corvette looking its best, don't you? Well, dress it up with bright chrome or black chrome wheels. Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or do a wheel exchange, and you get a 5-year warranty. So visit wheelcraft.com today or give them a call, 833-639-4231. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. Every other week, we keep you current and up to date on what's happening with America's sports car. In this second segment of Corvette Today, we always cover Corvette racing and Corvette rumors. Keith, let's start with racing. Corvette racing is going to be racing in Qatar, aren't they?
Yeah, actually, it was on Saturday. The new Corvette Z06 GT3R made its racing debut in the World Endurance Championship, or they call it WEC. I always just call it the World Endurance Championship.
Right.
This opener took place in Qatar. You know, the last few years it happened in Sebring. They did the Sebring 1,000-mile race the night before they ran the 12-hour Sebring race. So now it's a little bit different. Now we're over in Qatar, and Richard Prince is out there for Corvette Racing to cover and everything. We're recording this on Friday, so we haven't seen the race yet. The race takes place on Saturday. In fact, you got to get up at 3 in the morning if you want to watch it live, Steve. So.
Ugh, that's awful.
At least for us on Eastern time.
Yeah.
But we have 2 Corvettes running in WEC. They're being campaigned by British team TF Sport. We have the results up right now on Corvette Blogger. You can check that out. And then Steve and I will talk about this race next episode of the headlines.
That sounds good. Also, speaking of racing, let's talk about Le Mans a little bit. I know they've released the list of racing participants. Is Corvette Racing on that list?
You know, they're not. And you see that, it's kind of like, oh, feeling nostalgic already.
Yeah.
Corvette Racing has been synonymous with Le Mans for so many years. But yeah, the official Le Mans entry list came out on February 19th. While we don't have Corvette Racing on there, what we do have is 2 Corvette Z06 GT3Rs on the provisional grid from TF Sport. So now that honor of racing Corvettes at Le Mans will be on their shoulders. Le Mans is essentially a World Endurance Championship race.
Right.
You know, we'd always have to previously race in a couple World Endurance Championship races to get an invite to Le Mans when we were just in IMSA. Last year was a little bit different. We had the WEC team, and they were doing very well. In fact, they won Le Mans last year. Other than 2020, due to COVID, Corvette Racing has been there since 2000. So 9 races won, 13 podium finishes, I think. Last year, Corvette Racing actually won their first Le Mans with the C8. There's a lot of stuff going on there, but there's also a lot of history and tradition. I talked about that's where Jake first showed up. You know, they just were painting a skull on the floor. Basically, we were a bunch of pirates over there taking on the establishment. That's how it was viewed. That pirate actually then became Jake, our mascot. We also had the train horn signaling for lunch every day and just a bunch of these little traditions. So hopefully TF Sport will be able to carry that on their shoulders again. It's always exciting to see Le Mans. And of course, we have 2 Corvettes over there, so that makes it even more exciting.
You got to carry on Corvette racing tradition, even if it's not Corvette racing in its purest form.
Right, exactly. Yeah, there's still a lot of fun out there. People still look to the team. I think TF Sport will do very well. They've had a good history leading up to their time now with Corvette. They've got some good drivers, so here's hoping.
Yep, that's for sure. All right, Keith, let's get to the rumors category. First, the E-Ray hit Virginia International Raceway and did a lightning lap. How did that turn out?
Wow, it was good. This is the 17th year for Car and Drivers Lightning Lap competition. They hold it every year at Virginia International Raceway. They call that the American Nürburgring. And, you know, when you have the same drivers running these cars year after year, it develops this hierarchical chart of how cars do. And it's funny how they've changed so much over these 17 years. Now we've got the new Corvette E-Ray in the race. The car actually did really well. It came in 31st place overall. There's been 327 vehicles tested over the years, and the E-Ray is now 31. The lap time for the E-Ray was 2 minutes and 45 seconds around the track, and that makes it the 4th fastest Corvette, and it's actually the first non-Z Corvette to make the list. Other cars in that 245 time period, you had the Lamborghini Huracan Evo, the Camaro ZL1 1LE, Ferrari 488 GTB. You had a $500,000 Ford GT ran a 245.
Wow.
You had the McLaren 650 Spider. Just behind the car, you had the Porsche 911 Turbo S from 2017, the 2018 Porsche GT3, and then the 2016 Porsche GT3 RS. When you see how cars did previously and how the new cars are doing, it's pretty cool there to see that. Now, it wasn't all good news, Steve. We did notice that the E-Race battery pack didn't really have the capacity to provide full boost for the entire 4.1 mile lap. So as you're watching the video, the driver, you see his hand lead the steering wheel and he's punching that Charge Plus button down there at certain locations where he'd build the charge and then he'd release it again. But very first turn, it's a very slow turn, but the E-Ray did it in 1.12 Gs. And that traction from the all-wheel drive system yanked it out of the corner about a half a mile per hour faster than the Z06 did. So you can see some of these comparisons between the Z06 and the Stingray where the E-Ray kind of slots right in there, but like I said, it was faster out of that corner with the all-wheel drive. But on the front straight, it was actually slower than the Stingray, 149 versus 147, whereas the Z06 was hitting 159 at that front straight. So there's good things and bad things. The car's a little heavier, it did its job on the launch and out of corners, but on 4.1 mile track, you're going to have limitations with its battery pack. So it's definitely a real win for the model.
Yeah. And a couple of other things, Keith. Did I hear that there's some price cuts on wheels for the 2024 Stingray?
Man, how rare do we hear price cuts with Corvette, and especially C8 has all been about gradual increases. We kind of knew that when they came out and said, oh yeah, it's going to be priced at $59,995. Everybody's like, what? And then, of course, we see over the course of the last 4 years, that price has gone up by $10,000. Then all of a sudden we get news that there's a price cut to a couple wheels, wondering what's going on with that, right? This happened at the end of February. 2 Stingray wheels were reduced down to $995%. And the wheels are the 5 split spoke design in sterling silver and the satin graphite. The sterling silver wheels were reduced by $1,000. They were originally $1,995.
Wow.
While the satin graphite wheels were reduced from $1,495. So they came down by $500. Why did they do this? This came out right before that second order cycle with all the Stingrays. So we were thinking, oh, this has got to be in response to those Q9i, those gloss black wheels, those 20 spoke wheels that no one can get.
Right.
Dealers have been complaining about the lack of that wheel. And here's the thing is buyers aren't moving from them. They want those wheels or they're not going to place their order. So we're thinking, well, now that they have this other black wheel that's the same price as those gloss black wheels, maybe that's an equal substitute. But then again, we just had the constraints come out and there was no gloss black wheels on the constraint list. Very interesting there. So they reduced the prices of these wheels. They're great looking wheels. Hopefully we'll see them stay that price throughout the 2024 model year. And it'll be interesting to see, Steve, if they do raise them back up in 2025.
Yeah, that's for sure.
I wouldn't doubt it.
I know. Let's not say that out loud, maybe. And then they won't go up next year, right?
Right.
Our final rumor, Keith, this was kind of confusing. You're going to help me with this. GM had started a customer satisfaction program about missing engine appearance panels for 2023 C8s. What's going on with that? We're in 2024 already.
Yeah, GM Authority reported this new customer service program. The description that was very cryptic. I'm going to read you the description and see if you can figure out what they were talking about.
Okay.
The back body opening side filler is an aesthetic component that comes in pairs with one filler installed on each side of the vehicle. That's the description.
Yeah, that's really confusing.
What we did was we got with some friends, we figured out what it was, and sure enough, they're talking about the engine appearance package, which has the 2 carbon fiber closeout panels on each side of the engine.
Okay.
The engine appearance package was one of those options that caused issues with the late 2023 Corvettes being built. Chevy was doing a build shy. They were building these cars, but they weren't complete. They were still missing some options, so they would just park them out back.
Right.
And then when the options came in, they'd go out back, put them on the car, and then release them for shipping. We know that there was a whole bunch of cars back there, so it's still kind of confusing because we know that at one point Chevy said, you know what, we're just going to create this other RPO, the wiring harness that's part of the engine appearance package. We'll put that on the car. It's $100, and then if the owner wants to order their closeout panels later when they're in stock, they can do that. This is kind of a really weird program. We're not hearing really of anybody that said, oh, I was charged $995, but only got the light. There's no numbers on how many cars were done like this. So we're just kind of waiting to see. But it must have been enough for them to open up this program and be able to serve these customers again on their missing parts.
Yeah, that's good news for 2023 owners. That's for sure.
We'll take it. We'll take whatever we can get on those cars because the end of that model year was a little crazy. They were breaking records and all kinds of stuff was happening there. So just glad to see that they're doing some follow-up and getting that done.
Exactly. Well, buddy, let's take our final break. When we come back, the lighter side of Corvette is on deck here on Corvette Today.
Are you ready for a better insurance policy without the Corvette tax? With Agreed Value Protection, the value of your collector vehicle will never change. Plus, you'll save money. Get a quick quote at ncminsurance.com.
Hey, honey, are you awake?
I am now.
I can't sleep. Since turning 50, I keep dreaming of a red door and a blue door, somehow knowing there are only choices for retirement.
Okay.
Through the red door, we outlive our money. We have to rely on our kids. We're stuck on a fixed income. It's terrifying.
Yeah, that would suck.
But through the blue door, our money outlives us. We retire on our terms. Our kids stay our kids, not our caretakers. We make work optional.
Yes, that's much better. That's what I want too. But what do we do?
We call True Wealth & Company at 913-653-8783. They specialize in helping successful people make work optional. They're our fiduciary Blue Door personal wealth managers.
Hey, where are you going? It's 3 a.m.
I can't sleep. I'm going to check out True Wealth & Company online at retirewithtrue.com. That Blue Door is going to be our retirement.
913-653-8783. Visit us online at retirewithtrue.com. Investment advice offered through True Wealth & Company, LLC, a registered investment advisor in the state of Kansas.
VetFinders.com is the Internet's original Corvette classified ads website, with classified ads starting at just $25. And every ad runs until your Corvette is sold. If you're in the market for a Corvette, VetFinders.com has over 500 Corvettes for sale from all around the USA and Canada, and covering all 8 generations. Visit VetFinders.com, the Internet's destination for buying and selling Corvettes. That's VETTE Finders.com.
You're enjoying the only current podcast on Corvettes, Corvette Today.
Thanks once again for listening and watching Corvette Today, the show that talks about everything Corvette. Corvette Today is brought to you by Wheelcraft. You want your Corvette looking its best? We'll dress it up with bright chrome or black chrome wheels. Visit wheelcraft.com and learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or do a wheel exchange, and you get a 5-year warranty too. So visit wheelcraft.com today or give them a call, 833-639-4231. I'm your host, Steve Garrett. With me is Keith Cornett from CorvetteBlogger.com. If you want a deeper dive into any of the stories Keith and I cover, you can always go to CorvetteBlogger.com. In this final segment, we talk about the lighter side of Corvette. Keith, this is the, oh my gosh, did he really do that? The dumb A story of the year. This guy just got out of prison. He had no ride home from prison. He decides to steal a transport of C8 Corvettes. And I think there were like 8 of them on the transport. I don't think that guy's going to ever make it home. He's going to go right back to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200, right?
I think the term for this is institutionalized, and home for him is prison, because that's where he headed back after this. You know, this story went viral for a number of reasons. It's really quite funny. So it happened in Tucson, Arizona, as reported by the sheriff's office out there. They say 23-year-old Isaiah Walker approached the driver of a truck carrying Corvettes on it. And after kind of lulling him into a false sense of security, he grabbed the driver, threw him down to the ground, and took off with this truckload of Corvettes valued at $1.25 million.
Oh my gosh.
A deputy later spots the truck and attempts to get Walker to pull over, but now he's driving recklessly. So imagine this truckload of Corvettes driving recklessly, forcing other vehicles off the roadway. Eventually, Walker stopped the truck and was arrested by the deputy. And he admitted stealing the truck, told him because it wasn't for the Corvettes, it's just he needed a ride home. The stolen truck was actually safely recovered without incident, and there was no damage. And so it was released to the driver so he could continue on his way. Just a crazy story. The pictures show this truckload of Corvettes on a dirt road.
Oh my gosh.
Somewhere out there after they were able to stop it. But apparently everything was okay and they went on their way. We saw this story everywhere, as you would. Who steals a truck to get home from leaving prison?
Have you ever heard a hitchhiking guy? Oh my God.
Uber?
Yeah, something. Yeah. Call a cab. Also, buddy, and this is for C6 owners, there's a special bulletin for fixing a fuel leak, but it's expired. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so back in the day, GM found an issue with the C6 Corvette's fuel system. They've actually been paying for fixes ever since. So apparently the leak was in the left-hand fuel pump module flange. There was actually a leak there. So you start smelling some gas and fuel odors in your garage after driving. They found that it was for the 2013 Corvettes. And so what they did was they had a special program in place that either in 10 years or 120,000 miles, they would fix this issue. Unfortunately, that 10 years has now elapsed with the 2023 being gone. So if you've never had this fixed, 6 now, you're on your own. This is one of those things, if you're in the market for a UC6, it might be something to check and see if it's already been done. If you find an owner that it hasn't been done, maybe it's a bargaining chip for negotiating your best deal. These things happen. They did take care of it for up to 10 years, and now it's one of those deals where you're kind of on your own.
Absolutely right. Also, speaking of going viral, Keith, there was a picture of a purple Corvette with purple wheels out. The color was outstanding. I love the car. I'd leave the wheels just standard, but man, that was a great purple color.
Steve, I found the perfect color for the C8, but unfortunately it does not exist. These photos were actually renderings from a digital artist on Instagram. I saw them over the weekend. I sent them to a couple people saying, oh, here's my car. We ran a hot or not poll on Corvette Blogger asking our readers about the color, and overall it had a 60% approval rate on it.
Yeah.
The color is called Purple Heart Metallic. Steve, I tell you, this color has been in my head ever since I first saw it.
Yeah.
The world needs some purple Corvettes, and this is a great color. That, of course, leads us a couple questions about what colors might go away after 2024 and what new colors are coming in. We love talking about colors and speculating about what we're going to see. You know, the rumor's actually been, of course, the cacti came out. A lot of people think that's just a one-year color, but it's actually doing surprisingly well. So I'm not sure if we're going to see that back for 2025 or not, but one of the rumors has been yellow. We might get a change for the yellow car.
Okay.
And then, of course, every year I've been going back to the ceramic matrix gray. It's been on Corvette since 2018. Sure, it's an interesting color. It's kind of been in that mid-level, but that's definitely a color that I think maybe its time has come to be replaced with the purple. How about that?
Yeah, my wife loves ceramic matrix gray. And you know what? If we don't get the purple, you can always get it wrapped in that color.
There you go. And I've already started trying to match that color with the different wraps that are out there. I've not had the success I'm looking for yet, but I know it's out there.
I know that if there's one purple E-Ray on the streets, I know whose car that's going to be, Keith. Our final story, buddy. Corvette raced the Tesla Cybertruck. How did that turn out?
Yeah, so Tesla Cybertruck is now out. It's all-wheel drive electric. I think even in the launch video, Elon put a Porsche on the back of the car or trailered it and then raced a Porsche in like an 8-mile race and actually beat it. Now that the Cybertruck is out there, YouTubers are racing it against traditional sports cars, including a couple videos of it racing Corvettes. So the guys at Throttle House, they raced the top-level Cybertruck, which is nicknamed the Cyber Beast, and it beat the Z06 from a standing start, but loses in a roll race. The Hennessy Performance, they raced the mid-level Cybertruck, again, all-wheel drive EV, and it was just no match for their 700 horsepower supercharged Corvette Stingray. I imagine we'll see more of these, and of course, there was also the news that Elon is finally getting serious about the Tesla Roadster, which he claims will go 0 to 60 miles an hour in under 1 second.
Wow.
That's supposedly hitting the market here in the next year or two as well. Of course, we've been waiting for that car forever anyways. I think a car like that could actually turn people a little bit more towards the performance of EVs. All these Corvette people out there saying, oh, I'll never own an EV. I'd never do electric. And then you see a car go 0 to 60 in under a second.
Yeah.
There might be something to that. So we'll have to wait and see. But with the Cybertruck out there, I think you're going to see some more Corvettes racing it. And it's fun. You know, it's a novelty item right now. And that's kind of what it's being treated as.
Well, buddy, we had the World of Wheels in February here in Kansas City, and they had 2 Cybertrucks there. One was the silver, and then one was wrapped. I mean, it looked pretty good. You got to look inside, you got to sit inside it. It wasn't bad. I would never own one, but still, it was great to see it in person.
Yeah, you know, you've heard a lot of polarizing things about them, but it is what it is, and it's something different. It breaks the mold. Whether it sticks around or not will be the real key to its success.
Definitely. Well, buddy, thanks for being back on Corvette Today. I appreciate you. We'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah, thanks again, Steve. All the stories we talked about today, they're up on CorvetteBlogger.com. We got a search box there at the top so you can easily find stuff. And if we see you on the roads, just make sure you keep throwing up those hands and waving.
Thanks again for listening and watching Corvette Today. And be sure to tell your family, friends, and other Corvette enthusiasts about the Corvette Today show. And thanks to our sponsors, Wheelcraft. Want to dress up your Corvette with bright chrome or black chrome wheels? Visit Wheelcraft.com to learn about their advanced PVD chrome finishing. They can refinish your wheels or offer a wheel exchange for most models, and it comes with a 5-year warranty. Visit Wheelcraft.com today or call 833-639-4231. Soul Performance Products at SOULPP.com, the official performance exhaust of Corvette Today. True Wealth & Company at RetireWithTrue.com. Also, Aerolarri Wheels. Get $100 off your purchase with the new promo code CT111 at Aerolarri.com. C8 Rally Driver at C8RallyDriver.com. And Hendrick Chevrolet in Kansas City at ChevyUSA.com.
Thanks for checking out Corvette Today on podcast and YouTube. If you'd like to contact Steve with ideas for Corvette Today, you can email him at stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Garrett has 2 R's and 2 T's. That's stevegarrettdj@gmail.com. Also, sign up for email notifications at corvettetoday.ck.page. Follow Steve and the show on social media on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and Threads at Steve Garrett DJ. Thanks again for listening and watching Corvette Today.